Did you know that habits shape over 40% of everything you do every day? That's almost half of your actions, decisions, and life running on autopilot. Whether they're helping or holding you back, they're in control. Now, do you know how habits work and how to change them before they change you? Be honest. Have you ever set a big goal, feeling fired up and ready to change your life? Maybe you've told yourself, this time, I'm going to eat healthier, work out consistently, or finally get that promotion. But somehow, despite your best intentions, you slip back into your comfort zone. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. It's not that you don't know what to do. You know the steps to a healthier life, a better career, or getting in shape. However, the excitement fades. Willpower runs out, and before you know it, distractions and bad habits creep back in. To truly change, you need to understand how habits work and how to take control of them. Have you ever realized how much of your life runs on autopilot? Studies show that over 40% of your daily actions are habits. Habits are automatic behaviors you don't even think about. And thank goodness for that. Think back to your first driving lesson. Every small action, steering, braking, checking mirrors, felt exhausting. But now, driving is second nature. That's the power of habits. They take the complex and make it automatic. But here's the thing. While habits are powerful, they're neutral. Your brain doesn't distinguish between good or bad when it creates a habit. It just reinforces what you repeatedly do. Whether it's helpful or harmful, a behavior practiced enough becomes second nature. So, how do habits actually work? Every habit, whether it's good or bad, follows a simple three-step process called the habit loop. Every habit begins with a cue. This is the trigger that tells your brain to start a habit. It's the signal that sets the loop in motion. Cues can take many forms, such as time. Waking up triggers brushing your teeth. Location. Walking into the kitchen prompts you to grab a snack. Emotional state. Feeling stressed leads you to scroll through social media. Other people. Seeing a friend might remind you to text someone. Cues are essential because they activate the habit loop. Once you identify the cues in your life, you can begin to understand why habits happen and start taking control. Finally, the reward. This is the benefit your brain receives from completing the routine. It's what motivates the habit and reinforces the loop. Where do habits live in your brain? Habits are stored in the basal ganglia, the part of the brain responsible for automatic behaviors. The more you repeat a habit, the stronger the neural connection becomes, embedding it deeper into your brain. This is why habits feel effortless. Once they're formed, you don't have to think about them. Your brain craves the reward and creates a shortcut to conserve mental energy for more complex tasks. Here's the good news. You can change habits by reshaping the habit loop. Instead of fighting the habit itself, focus on the cue and reward. Then, replace the routine with a healthier behavior. For example, if your cue is stress and your routine is smoking, the reward might be relief. Replace smoking with exercising to keep the same cue and reward while introducing a healthier routine. Dumbbells, light weights, nothing impressive. The first week was tough. Sore muscles, zero motivation, and constant self-doubt. But something kept me coming back. The craving for strength and confidence. Each small improvement, a little more weight, a little more energy, sparked a desire to keep going. Months later, I was lifting heavier weights, feeling stronger and more confident. What made the difference? It wasn't just the routine. It was the craving for progress and accomplishment that fueled me to create a habit that now feels like second nature. Cravings are the invisible force behind every habit. It's not just the routine or even the reward itself that keeps the habit loop going. It's the anticipation of the reward that fuels our actions. Without cravings, habits simply. Let's bring this to life with a relatable scenario, breaking the sugar habit. Imagine this. It's 3:30 in the afternoon on a dreary workday. You're exhausted, overwhelmed, and craving something sweet, a double chocolate muffin. Sound familiar? At first, you resist. But as the day drags on, your resolve weakens. Soon, you're indulging in that muffin, justifying it as a one-time exception. But here's the catch. Exceptions quickly become habits. Monday, I need a boost to start the week. Friday, I deserve a treat for making it through. Stressful days. I've earned some comfort. The cycle repeats, not because you lack discipline, but because willpower alone isn't enough. To break the habit, you need a proven strategy. Start by identifying the habit you want to change. For example, you might notice that every day at 3:30 in the afternoon, you head to the cafeteria to grab a sugary snack. Every habit fulfills a need, so the next step is to figure out what you're truly seeking. In the case of your sugar habit, the reward might be a quick energy boost, mental recharging, social connection, escaping boredom, or simply a change of scenery, all of which the sugary snack seems to promise. To uncover the real reward, experiment with alternative actions. Take a brisk walk instead of eating. Stay at your desk but sip on coffee or tea. Eat a healthier snack like an apple while chatting with coworkers. Skip the snack and engage in a conversation with a colleague. After each action, evaluate how you feel both immediately and 15 minutes later. If chatting with a coworker satisfies your craving, the real reward might not be the sugar itself, but rather the social connection. Every habit is triggered by a specific cue. To identify your trigger, track these factors when the craving strikes. Where are you? What time is it? How are you feeling? Who are you with? What were you doing just before? For example, after a few days of tracking, you might notice a pattern. You always crave sugar at 3:30 in the afternoon when you're alone and feeling tired. Now that you understand the trigger, craving, routine, and reward, create a new habit that fulfills the same need in a healthier way. In this example, the trigger is feeling tired and alone at 3:30 in the afternoon. The routine involves going to the cafeteria, eating a double chocolate muffin, and chatting with coworkers, while the reward is the social connection you gain. So, the craving is not really for the muffin itself, but for the feeling of connection and energy it brings. A healthier alternative could be visiting a colleague's desk for a short chat instead of grabbing a double chocolate muffin. To make this stick, set a reminder, like an alarm at 3:30 in the afternoon, to prompt the new behavior. Over time, this healthier routine will be a keystone habit. It's not just your behavior that changes, it's how you see yourself. Think about it. If you start exercising regularly, you don't just get fitter. You may find yourself eating healthier, sleeping better, and becoming more productive. Over time, it's no longer just a habit. It becomes part of your identity. You don't need motivation to hit the gym. You do it because it's simply who you are. Habits are much easier to maintain when they align with your identity. Now that we've explored why Keystone habits are transformative, let's look at some practical examples you can start implementing. Let's talk about a simple yet transformative habit: writing things down. At first, it might seem trivial, just grabbing a pen and jotting down a few notes. But this one small act can ripple across your life. Why? Because writing fosters awareness. It forces you to slow down, reflect, and spot harmful patterns, helping you regain control of your actions. For instance, journaling about your productivity can reveal that you procrastinate whenever you feel overwhelmed. With this insight, you can break the cycle by setting smaller tasks or rewarding yourself for finishing them. Over time, the real power of writing lies in shifting your mindset. You start noticing connections between your actions and your outcomes. You see why you're stuck and how to break free. So, whether you're trying to eat healthier, improve your productivity, or simply understand yourself better, pick up a pen. Because that small act can spark big change. Building habits can feel overwhelming, especially when you're trying to do it alone. That's where community becomes a game changer. It's not just about having people around, it's about shared goals, mutual support, and accountability. Take Alcoholics Anonymous, for example. Its success lies not just in the program's steps, but in the shared mission of its community. The group's energy, encouragement, and collective progress inspire you to keep going, even on days when you'd rather quit. Over time, this becomes part of who you are, a team player who shows up. In the end, community amplifies habits by reinforcing identity. When you imagine a customer storms into a Starbucks, furious about a wrong order. Most people in this situation might freeze, lash out defensively, or panic. But Starbucks baristas are trained to handle these moments with calm professionalism. They don't rely on willpower alone. Instead, they follow a habit loop built into their training. Starbucks uses a method called latte to create emotional resilience. Listen to the customer, acknowledge their complaint, take action to resolve the issue, thank the customer for bringing it up, explain what steps will be taken to prevent it from happening again. This structured routine acts as a keystone habit. The cue is an upset customer. The craving is the barista's desire for resolution and affirmation. The routine is following latte, and the reward is transforming a negative situation into a positive experience. Over time, baristas don't just handle tough moments. They start seeing themselves as people who can remain composed under pressure. Here's where it gets truly impactful. This habit doesn't stay confined to the workplace. The emotional resilience developed at Starbucks often ripples out into other areas of life, helping baristas navigate personal challenges with the same composure and confidence they apply at work. It's a perfect example of how keystone habits can create identity shifts, transforming not just the personal lives of individuals, but also shaping the culture and identity of organizations like Starbucks.